Hi, today I'm going to be talking about paperless files and forms in the stemwizard system. So this is a student account that I've created in stemwizard. First, students will need to go to their regional fair website and create an account and log in. After that, before they can continue, they would need to fill out the project information, which would include selecting their teacher, their category, and setting a title to the project. But what I'm going to be talking about today is in the files and forms milestone. And the first time a senior division student clicks on files and forms, they will need to go through a rules wizard to select what forms are required for their project. For a middle schooler or a junior division student, they will go straight into files and forms because their forms will already be selected for them. But I'm just going to click on this files and forms button. For this student, it is a high school student, and I've already done the rules wizard for them. I wanted to point out that I do have some good links to documents at the top here. There's a document that shows what signatures would be accepted by the SRC. We will not be accepting typed signatures. And so this document has some different examples of ways to get signatures. There's also the research plan. There's an example of the middle school safety and consent form with guiding arrows showing how to fill it out. The same thing with the ISEF forms for senior division, and even a document that shows each section of the ISEF forms and who can sign those documents. So these are great documents for students to review and even teachers to know what they should be checking for. But within files and forms, our paperless files and forms are going to have these blue fill edit form buttons, yellow send link buttons, and green submit buttons. For the middle school, once the middle school safety and consent form is converted to a paperless file and form, middle schoolers will also have one form, that form where they'll have the blue, yellow, and green buttons, and we'll need to fill it out within the system, just like the senior division students are going to do with their ISEF forms. So looking at these forms, there's automatically a file name next to them. So the form itself is present here. So a student can click on any one of these forms to see what the actual form is and what's been filled out on that form. So you can see for this form, nothing has been filled out yet. The Fill Edit Form button will allow the student to fill out any part of the form that they need to fill out. I'm going to click on one of these, and it'll show the different parts that a student would fill out. So the student would need to fill this part out and then click Save. And each one of these forms is going to be a little bit different because they're all collecting different information. There are also the send links buttons. So send link are for those documents where there's an external reviewer, such as a teacher or a parent, maybe an SRC member, or a mentor that needs to fill out and or sign part of the document. So those send links allows the student to send that document to them. So click on this one. This one actually would go to the adult sponsor or to the teacher. It's going to have the link that they will click on in order to be able to fill it out. The student can also attach a file, which they should attach their research plan at all times to send it. But the student will need to know the email address of who they are sending the document to. And then they would click send. For some of these documents, there are multiple people that need to fill out or sign parts of the document. For example, Form 4, which is the human participant form, has 4 different sections that need to be filled out by different people. So let me click on the document first and show you those sections. There's this top section that one of the IRB members would fill out, where they are going to have to select the risk level and whether written consent is required. That would be one of the emails that goes out. The second email would be to the medical or mental health professional, and this can be the same person that fills out the top portion up here, an educator and also school administrator. And again, this form is for human participants, so this is when an institutional review board or an IRB is required. So let's look at what the send link looks for that form for. So I'm going to click the send link, and on here, there's an approver type section that was not on ISA form 1 because that only had one person the form would go out to. This one with those 4 different sections that need to be filled out, there are different options. So the student will need to make sure that they select the correct one when they're sending it. So teachers make sure that you go over this with your students and that they understand the different approver types that they're sending to. Once the form is received back to the student and the student sees that it is completed, that's when they click the submit button and the file status will change to submitted. A student should not click that submit button until they know for sure that the document is complete. And that lets the SRC know that it is ready to be reviewed. Reviews, of course, will not happen until after registration closes, though. So let's go ahead and actually fill out one of these documents so you can see how it works. I'm going to do the ISA Form 1B since all of our senior division students will need to fill this out. ISA Form 1B is an approval form that the student fills out, the parent, and if the student had SRC approval, meaning they had worked with vertebrate animals, with tissues, with microorganisms, they would have had SRC approval. They would have had IRB approval if they worked with human participants. So they would also need this section 2A filled out. If they work at a research institution and had SRB or IRB approval, then they would have 2B signed. So you can see there are multiple sections that need to be potentially signed for this form. So the first thing, again, would be for the student to do their part and fill or edit that form. So for the student, that would just mean that they are going to sign it. So I'm just find something on here, click save. And now the student portion is filled out. I click on that document again. Now it has the student's name, signature, and the date on it. The next step would be to get the parent signature. So I'm going to send that link to the parent or guardian approver type. And again, don't forget to add in the research plan. Okay. And so I would send that. And then if the student worked with vertebrate animals or microorganisms, then they would also need to send it to the SRC. That box 2.A needs to be filled out. And again, that's student research plan. So I have already sent those to my email so that you could see what it looks like on the reviewer side. So this first email that I have here says that it needs to be filled out by the parent guardian. So it's very important that when the approver receives this email that they check and see which portion of the form they're going to be filling out. Also, that research plan is attached, so I should read that research plan first before approving anything. So I'm going to click on that link and open it in a new tab here. At the top, it's going to show me the form that I'm signing. So if it was form 4 that was being sent out, that would have a 4.pdf there. So it'll have whatever form. When the approver clicks on it, it's going to open and they're going to see who's filled out what part of it so far. and know what they're signing. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I'm going to type in name, select the date of review. And date of reviews should be prior to experimentation. And then let's do a signature here. I have the choice of either approving or don't approve. If I click don't approve, that would allow me to type my name and then to give some feedback or a comment. So if I wanted to say something about, the research plan, or I wanted something changed, I could type that in there, send it to the student. The student would need to make those corrections and then resend the link to me again. But for now, I'm going to click to approve it. Okay. And now you can see that the parent signature is added as well. So on the student side, now when I see that there's a message here. So if I go into the messages, the student would see that there is information received on the Form 1B, go to the Files and Forms milestone. So this lets the student know that something's been filled out on that form. This is where if comments were sent back and the form was rejected, they would see those comments as well and know to make the changes. So I'm going to go back to my Files and Forms. Okay, and click on that Form B, 1B. The student would see that part signed, but they're still waiting on the SRC approval in 2A. So that would let the student know not to click submit yet, that they need to contact that approver. So let's go back to my emails then. And the second email I sent myself here is the one that says SRC IRB box 2.A. So if I click that link, that's going to give me that section to fill out. So this is asking for the SRC or IRB chair's name, their date of approval, and a signature. Okay. And the SRC chair also has the option to approve or don't approve. So I'm going to approve. Let's see, on the students side of things, again, now there's that new message that would tell them that there's information on their Form 1B. If I click on Form 1B, it's going to open it, and now all of the signatures needed are present on the form. And now I can click Submit. Yes, I have all the signatures. Great. And now it says Submitted. And so for each form, again, it's important that students understand what needs to be filled out, who those approvers are that they need to send them to. And it's important for teachers to check to make sure that their students have gotten all of those signatures as well. I hope that has been helpful. Have a great day.